This week I finally decided on my new camera and I took it to an incredible new location to explore. Join me as I share how I compose my photos, the reasons why I chose this camera, and I'll even be sharing a little hack you can use to predict the incredible conditions that I experienced on this shoot. Let me show you what I mean. Well, good morning everybody, and welcome to what's set to be a very interesting morning of photography. So we're in that very interesting part of the day where we are transitioning from blue hour to golden hour, and the conditions just could not be more perfect. The best thing about doing this in summer is that it is absolutely dead. No wind, no people, just me, my new camera, and my new location. I'm very excited. Might actually need to put my wide angle on today. So I've just marched up this hill because the light is just getting perfect now. And I have this particular composition in mind where you've got these beautiful cliffs that are covered in heather, just catching the light with a little bothy sort of hut at the bottom with a leading line of the river straight down to it. Now it's a very wide scene. For the first time in a long time I've had to get out the wide angle lens to fit it all in. It was just at the short end of my 18 to 55, but it just felt far too squashed in, so I've gone for the wide angle so that I can fit everything in nicely and use sort of the best focal range of this lens so it's nice and sharp, that image. Really don't think I could have asked for better conditions on a summer morning. Right, that's the hero shot taken care of. Time to look for some more compositions. I suppose I better talk about my new camera. I haven't even mentioned it yet. It'll come as no surprise to many of you that I've gone with the Canon EOS R7. This was the choice that made the most sense for me. This is by no means going to be a gear video, a review, even an opinion. This is my first proper outing with this camera. I've taken some test shots and worked out the custom functions for myself and that sort of thing, but actually taken it out to use as a photography camera for my own portfolio, not done it yet. But this is a camera that I've actually bought with my own money. This was the camera I intended on upgrading to all along, ever since it was first released, and I watched all the reviews and I thought, yes, that is the replacement for my Canon 250D. And part of the reason is that it was the most simple choice, because it is basically a more advanced version of what I already had. Canon know their formula with their cameras now. A lot of the functions are very similar to what I'm used to with my Canon 250D. And the other reason it's a much simpler choice is that I bought the adapter with it. So this is an EF to RF adapter, which means I can keep all my old lenses that I had for my Canon 250D, because I really like these lenses. They're affordable, they're good, the quality of them is great if you use them properly, and for the sort of photography I do, they are just perfect. And replacing these with a different system or a different mount would put me out of pocket for not that much better glass. So in the meantime I can just use this adapter, only adds that much space and barely any weight, and they work seamlessly. Honestly, this adapter, it's like using it on my Canon 250D, except the autofocus is much better on this camera. So far, so good. At this point, I thought that was it for photography. I assumed the light had gone and that now it was time to pack up. Little did I know what this incredible location had in store for me though. Ground's really rough here, so it's safer to just kill the drone like that than trying to land it on this horrible stone. Takes a bit of practice so you don't slice your fingers though. Now you were probably expecting me to talk all about the specs and how great my new camera is, but honestly, the fact that it's a better camera doesn't matter to me at all. Even if I brought my old camera here, I knew I would have got great photos this morning. because, as I've talked about a lot on this channel, your gear is only partly important when it comes to photography. Yes, good gear does make a difference, but not as much of a difference as being in the right place at the right time. This morning, I could have brought a 15-year-old camera out with a kit lens, and using it properly, I know I could have got some great photos. So don't go thinking that I've upgraded my camera just so that I can sort of improve my photography. That's not what it's about at all. It's not going to make me any better a photographer. What makes me confident in my own photography is that I know I can put myself in the right place at the right time. And whatever gear you've got, that's something you can absolutely put into practice to improve your own photography too. Okay, so here's a little photography hack I can share with you about how I knew I was going to get great conditions this morning. I was like 95% sure I was going to get cloud inversions, mist, perfect conditions for landscape photography. Yesterday afternoon we had torrential rain throughout the afternoon. It was just pouring down constantly. But this morning I knew we were going to have semi-clear skies and absolutely no wind whatsoever. That means there's a lot of moisture in the ground that evaporates as the sun comes up in the morning, and you get these constant sort of mist clouds that roll through. So put simply, if you get rain one day and then you get a high pressure system over you where you live the next day, then you'll almost certainly get great conditions for photography. Use that in the future if you want to know if it's worth going out of a morning. Now, I've had a insanely busy week this week. I was absolutely wiped out. The idea of setting my alarm for 4:30 this morning, which is what I had to get here in time for these conditions, did not appeal at all. But now that I've arrived and got the photos, it was absolutely worth it, because I knew I was going to get probably some of the best conditions of the year. I am the king of cinema today. I'm just on my way back down the mountain to see if I can find some more compositions, and the beauty of mist in a valley is that the scene just keeps on changing. This scene that I photographed earlier has changed again. There's different light on it, the mist is different in the valley, and as a result it creates a completely different picture. I'm going to have a lot of editing to do when I get home. So I've come back down the mountain because really this is where the best views are. You don't need to climb up the mountains to get the best view. The view is the mountains, so the bottom is the best place to be. But I'm intending on coming back here a few times. Now that I know where this location is, I'm going to come back again and again. I think I'm going to have to, because it's so beautiful here. I've developed what you might call photographer's blindness. My mind is so overwhelmed with compositions and how I can make this work that I'm struggling to actually capture its beauty in my mind. One time here isn't going to be enough. I'm going to have to come back, especially in the autumn. There are trees everywhere here, and although conditions have been beautiful this morning, they'll be beautiful again in a couple of months' time. I think this is going to be one of those locations where you have to come back to get the best photos. Sometimes I honestly can't believe that this is the country I live in. It's absolutely beautiful. Okay, let me talk you through my thinking with this composition so that you can see why it is I'm taking this photo. So you've got this beautiful leading line of a road leading up to the mountains. It's an incredibly simple composition. I'm not overthinking this. You've got atmosphere at the top because there's clouds sort of floating over. Some beautiful deep colours. There's a bit of purple in there, some greens. The road is very dirty because there's a lot of sheep around, so there's sheep muck everywhere, but I can just clone that out. And I'm just going route 1 with my settings. Aperture priority, f8, high enough ISO that I could do it handheld. I should probably do it with a tripod, but the stabilisation on this camera is so good, it doesn't make a difference. And the result is pretty incredible. I even quite like these power lines that are in it. They add just another layer of sort of a leading line into it. So the sheep have just moved into the middle of the road. And I think that is the photo I wanted. I've wanted them to sort of move across the whole time they're walking down this road, because a sheep in front of these mountains is just the ultimate Welsh landscape. Shame the atmosphere's not quite as much in the mountains now. It's sort of burnt off a little bit. But let's be honest, there's going to be sheep here next time I come, isn't there? It's Wales. Well, this has just been absolutely incredible. It's been a lot of fun this morning. It's been a long time since I just did a simple photography vlog, just concentrate on the photography and the location. As a little side note, I'd like to ask your opinion on something. Would you be interested in doing a sort of a residential workshop? So if I booked a lodge here, there's loads of B&Bs around here, in a location like this, and we came here to do photography for, say, a long weekend, 4 days, or maybe even a whole week. Is that something you'd be interested in? But it's something I've been thinking about doing, you know, a residential workshop, sharing my knowledge of the locations and my technical knowledge with photography and compositions. You know, I could really help people to get some great photos. So if that's something you're interested in, then let me know down below, because, yeah, it's been something that's been a little brainworm for me for a while now. I've been thinking about. And also, let me know if you want more of these vlogs. This has been fun. I'll see you next time.